Hello everyone. In this video, I am going to teach you next topic of chapter first, that is sexual reproduction. The organisms are vary in their morphology and anatomy, but all sexually reproducing organisms have three common phases in their life cycle: the juvenile phase, reproductive phase, and third is the senescent phase. So, let's discuss about the juvenile phase. This juvenile phase is the period between birth and sexual maturity. It is the period between birth and sexual maturity, and this juvenile phase in plants is also known as vegetative phase. In this particular phase, there is growth of vegetative part of an organism. The second phase is the reproductive phase. The end of juvenile phase marks the beginning of reproductive phase. When juvenile phase ends, which phase starts? The second phase is the reproductive phase, in which the reproductive organs start developing, producing their hormones, producing their male and female hormones. And in the case of plants, the appearance of flower, the initiation of development of flowers in the plants represent their reproductive phase. So this reproductive phase varies plant to plant or animal to animal. Here we are discussing about two examples. First example is the bamboo species. This bamboo species flowers once in a lifetime, that is about 50 to 100 years. Means their lifespan of these bamboo species are around 50 to 100 years, and in this lifespan it flowers only once. Now the second example is Strobilanthes kunthiana. This is the scientific name, and this plant is also termed as Neela Kuranja because of the presence of blue colored flowers. So this particular Strobilanthes, it flowers once in 12 years. So its reproductive phase initiates once in 12 years, and this Strobilanthes present in the area of Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So these are the examples which indicates that the reproductive phase vary organism to organism. Now next is, what is placenta? What is the definition of placenta? It is a disc-like structure which behaves like a junction between the fetus and the uterus of the mother, and it allows the exchange of gases and materials. So in animals, their females show some cyclic changes. As mentioned in the note, the female placental animals exhibit cyclic changes in their activities, in their ovaries, in their accessory glands, as well as hormones during their reproductive phase. So on that basis, we say that the female placental animals, they exhibit two types of cycles in their reproductive phase, and the two types of cycles are, first is the menstrual cycle and second is the Oestrus cycle. So this menstrual cycle occurs in the females of kingdom. In the kingdom Animalia, there is an order called Primata. So in that particular order, humans, apes and monkeys are included. So these monkeys, apes and humans are called primates. So the female primates, they show their cyclic changes in the form of menstrual cycle. And basically there are three type of phases exist in this menstrual cycle. These are the menstrual phase, proliferative phase, which is also known as the follicular phase, and secretory phase. And in this particular cycle, there is loss of blood. The detail of this cycle we will discuss in chapter 3 in human reproduction. Now, the second type of cycle is the oestrus cycle. So, this cycle occurs in the females of non-primates like cow, sheep, rat, dog, etc. And as compared to menstrual cycle, this oestrus cycle consists of short period, and there is no flow of blood in the females during this oestrus cycle. So these are the basic differences between these two types of cycles. So whatever be the development, whatever be the changes exist in the body of an organism during their reproductive phase, these are the interactions of hormones and environmental factors. So the hormones and the environmental factors together involves in the process of this reproduction. So different types of variations, different types of changes which exhibit or which exist in a particular individual, this is because of their hormones and their particular environmental conditions. Now we discussed the juvenile phase, we discussed the reproductive phase. Now the third phase is the senescent phase. So this senescent phase is also known as the old phase. This senescent phase is also termed as the old phase because it is the end of reproductive phase, and this phase ultimately leads to death. So these are the three different phases which occurs in the organisms who reproduce sexually. Now there are different types of events exist in sexual reproduction. So the events in sexual reproduction are pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization. So these three events are necessary, compulsory in all organisms who reproduce sexually. So first is the pre-fertilization, means fertilization से पहले होने वाली जो भी events हैं वो किसके अंदर आएंगी, pre-fertilization के अंदर. And the two processes involved in pre-fertilization are, first is gametogenesis and next is gamete transfer. Gametogenesis means formation of gametes, and the next is gamete transfer. The gametes which are produced, now they have to move to their respective partner. So gametogenesis and gamete transfer, these two processes are included in the pre-fertilization event. Now second is the fertilization. In the fertilization event, there is fusion of male and female gamete. So this much process is related with the fertilization. Now the third event is the post-fertilization event. After fertilization, what will happen? There is formation of zygote, and from this zygote, embryo will develop. So the process or development of embryo is called as the embryogenesis. So zygote formation and embryogenesis, these two events are related with the post fertilization. Now let's discuss about the first event of sexual reproduction, that is pre-fertilization. These include all the events of sexual reproduction prior to the fusion of gametes. गैमेट के फ्यूज़न से पहले की जितनी भी इवेंट्स होती हैं वो सब किसके अंदर आएंगी? प्री फर्टिलाइजेशन के अंदर. So in pre-fertilization there are two processes. First is the gametogenesis and second is the gamete transfer. So first is gametogenesis. It refers to the process of formation of male and female gametes. In this gametogenesis, there are two types of gamete formation. One is the male gamete and the next is the female gamete. This male gamete is generally termed as sperm or anthrazoid. So the formation of male gamete is called as spermatogenesis. And the female gamete is present in the form of ovum or egg, and the process of formation of female gamete is called as oogenesis, and together spermatogenesis and oogenesis together referred as gametogenesis. Now the developed gametes, how they look like. On the basis of their appearance, there are two types of gametes: homogametes, isogametes. Homogametes and isogametes, these gametes are similar in their appearance. If there are two gametes and these two gametes are similar in their appearance and we are unable to differentiate which one is the male gamete and which one is the female gamete, so these similar morphology वाले जो gametes होते हैं उन्हें क्या कहा जाता है? Homogametes और isogametes. Example is algae. So in algae, the two types of gametes are similar in their appearance. Second category is of heterogametes or anisogametes. The gametes produced are of two morphologically distinct types. When the male and female gametes are different from each other in their morphology, then the gametes are heterogametes or anisogametes, as in the case of the sperms and ovum in the human being. So these two gametes are basically, you easily differentiate, this is the male gamete and this is the female gamete. So homogametes are similar in appearance and heterogametes are different in their morphology. Now next topic is sexuality. What is the meaning of sexuality? Means what are the sexual parts or what are the male or female sex organ present in a particular organism. So on the basis of sexuality, the organisms are of two types: bisexual or unisexual. Bisexual name is also known as homothelic and it is also known as monoecious. So this bisexual, homothelic and monoecious, these three terms are similar. Bisexual means if an organism in a particular individual, male and female gametes are present in single individual, as in the case of algae like chara, fungi and cucurbits and coconut. These are the examples in which a single individual contain both the sexes, male and female. So the condition is bisexual, homothelic, monoecious, means both the sex organ present in a particular individual. Now second is the unisexual. That means one is male and the other is female. the two organisms are bearing their particular sex organ. This unisexual term is also known as heterothallic as well as dioecious. So unisexual, heterothallic and dioecious conditions present in papaya, date palm and marchantia, in which male and female papaya is there, male date palm, female date palm is there, male marchantia and female marchantia is there. That means the particular plant is having only a one sex. Now, as we discussed this bisexual condition in animals, so in animals, this bisexual organisms are also called as hermaphrodite. This bisexual term is also known as hermaphrodite when we are discussing about animals. And the examples are earthworm, sponge, tapeworm, leech. So these are the animals, so these are the examples in which a particular organism bearing two types of sexes, and the condition is bisexual or hermaphrodite. And the example of unisexual organism is cockroach, in which male cockroach is different and female cockroach is different. Now, there are two types of plant bodies or even animal bodies also, diploid and haploid. Diploid means it is the set of chromosome. It represents the total set of chromosomes. And the haploid means it only contains the half set of chromosomes. For example, if I give the example of human being, the human being bearing 46 number of chromosomes, so this particular condition is the diploid stage, and when there is gamete formation, they have only 23 number of chromosomes. So this 23 number of chromosomes represents its haploid stage. So there are some examples which you have to learn where main plant body is maybe diploid or haploid. So this Monera, fungi, algae and bryophytes, their main plant body is haploid in nature. When we grow that plants, the first plant that originates from the water, aquatic habitat or from the land, that particular plant body is haploid in nature. But the pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms and humans, we all are diploid in nature. Our body is consists of total set of chromosomes. So that total set of chromosomes represent the diploid condition, and the examples are pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms and humans. So here we all discuss about the different types of gametes in the topic gametogenesis. Now after gametogenesis, what will occur? There is transfer of gametes. So the next topic is gamete transfer. There is formation of male gamete and female gamete. Now these two types of gametes are allowed to move. So basically, we all know that the majority of organisms, the female gamete is stationary and the male gamete is motile, and this motile gamete have to reach to the female gamete. But in the case of few fungi and algae, both type of gametes are motile. This is important. In fungi and in algae, both type of gametes are motile. Now, अगर आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है, water is the medium of gamete transfer in which organism? So your answer is algae, bryophyte, pteridophytes. In algae, bryophyte and pteridophytes, water is necessary. Water is a medium through which gamete is transferred from one place to another place. In seed plants, the male gamete transfer takes place by the help of pollen grains. This is the stamen. This particular portion is the anther, and this anther contains pollen grains, and inside the pollen grain male gamete will present. And by the process of pollination, these pollens are transferred to the female part. So by the process of pollination, there is transfer of gametes in the seed plants. In algae, bryophyte, pteridophytes, water is the medium for transfer of gametes, and in few fungi and algae, both type of gametes are motile. So that's all for today's video. Thank you.